Ever wonder why your foot falls asleep? Well, I've got the answer.
Damn it, you're always a step ahead of me. I feel like you're just trying to keep me on my toes. You're just so soulless. You know, you're really defeating the purpose of these intros.
That ought to do it. So why exactly does that happen? Well, here's the answer as quickly as possible. That pins and needles effect is called paresthesia. It happens when your nerves are compressed, usually because you're putting too much pressure on them. The pressure cuts down the blood flow in vessels that nourish your nerves. Without that blood supply, the nerves can't transmit messages from your body to the brain. They end up sending signals that the brain doesn't know quite what to do with, so it starts producing different sensations, like tingling or numbness. Now, when you relieve that pressure on the nerves, usually by switching your position, your nerves start to get their function back. For a little while, blood flows more freely to that part of your body, which makes the pins and needles effect worse for a little bit. When the blood flow is restored and the nerves start working properly again, the feeling subsides. Now, that is when it happens just randomly from time to time. You're laying in bed reading or something, you might have your foot fall asleep.
Right.
It can get worse for some people. It can happen often, actually. Chronic paresthesis, a more serious version of pins and needles, can be a sign of diabetes, for instance. 2/3 of diabetics develop some kind of nerve damage in their legs and feet because the disease weakens blood supply to nerves. Other chronic illnesses like liver damage or kidney disease can also cause the feeling. And in rare cases, a tumor pressing on nerves can have a similar effect. And so I think this is important to cover because most people think that they're just not getting circulation or something like that, but it can actually be a sign of something far more dangerous. And in fact, for most diabetics, and there's a lot of diabetics in America, it can actually be one of the symptoms of it. But more commonly, you might hear about carpal tunnel syndrome, which happens when nerves are pinched, often from repetitive stress like too much typing, and therefore they can't communicate to the wrist, causing a perpetual feel of numbness. And so effectively, when you cut off the flow of blood to the nerves in your hands or in your feet, it can cause that weird pins and needles type falling asleep effect.
But I wonder too why it's just your fingers and your feet. Like if it could be like, it's never like your whole arm.
Yeah. Oh, I guess
you know
it would
what
be.
I mean?
I suppose it would be hard to cut off
all of that.
Yeah.
I don't know. When you when you sleep funny and your arm goes and then you touch it and you're like, oh, there's somebody else.
So it is possible then. I mean, it definitely can happen.
But it's usually your hand. It's not like your whole
arm. Yeah. Sometimes my whole head. It was like, it's like somebody else's head is touching me. Okay, maybe not. But there are things that can fall asleep. Your butt can certainly fall asleep. If you sit on an uncomfortable bike seat for too long, that can go numb too. I feel like I've just admitted something that I thought was common and might not be. It happens to everybody.
Wait, that's really funny.
Anyway.
But I get the pins and needles, and then I also feel like my foot's sometimes full of sand. Do you know that feeling where it's just
like a
really
big bag
heavy?
of sand?
Yeah.
Yeah. I felt that before.
That happens to me.
Yeah.
I don't know why.
Yeah.
Well, now I
you do know why,
but
because you watched
I
this video.
What other sensations that you get that are because your brain isn't firing signals correctly.
Or isn't receiving the signals because they're not being sent correctly.
Because there's probably a lot of things that we don't even think about that maybe we think are normal because the way we move our body that isn't as intense as the pins and needles or the sandbag, if you will.
The sandbag. I don't know. Some of us use our bodies in different ways than others, I suppose. Okay, so hopefully that was helpful in explaining something that happens to most people, I'd say once a week or so.
Hopefully you liked my puns.
And her puns as well. If there's a common sort of thing that happens or that isn't really explained, post it down in the comment section and we will address it in a future video. See you next time, guys.